Well, when I saw the first full draft of the strategic plan, my initial reaction was bingo, and that's because I thought there was the kind of the confluence and the concern for almost all the things that were my interest and my concern. I even told Kathy Anderson on another occasion, this is what I've been waiting for. And I think it's because, first of all, the strategic plan was really trying to take care of the needs of residents here. And so I was very comfortable that they weren't going to dismantle Goodwin House or recreate it or start from scratch. The first element of strategic plan was excellence in all we do. And the first phase of the strategic plan is to try to continue to support, honor, and uplift residents and senior citizens. And so I knew that that was in place. But what really created bingo for me and made me, really be interested in what was going on was that they wanted to enlarge the mission. They were listening to what market needs were and basically trying to address those issues. And that led us to kind of move outward to try to extend the mission. There's competition coming. The nature of people who want to move into Goodwin House is changing. The needs of people who can't move into Goodwin House is changing. And rather than kind of narrowing our mission, they really wanted to extend it outward. And so it was a little bit, the strategic plan was kind of taking care of us, but it was also really trying to reach a wider audience and a wider clientele, and to try to, I think, ultimately engage diversity and more universal outreach. So all of those things were a good confluence. One of the things that I had as a sense is that the residents, of course, are always worried that, people have to take care of us, and are we going to pay for all of this, or, what's going to happen to us? I was comfortable that the strategic plan was, first of all, going to meet the needs of residents here, that it was not going to cost them more money in order to, engage in the strategic plan, and that people were really interested, the administration and others, and even the committee itself, was interested in hearing what the residents would want to do. What really, I think, fed me was the sense that even residents here have a sense that we have a wider mission, that we have an outreach committee, we have people that do fundraising, at Thanksgiving and other things. We have people who are engaged still in all the communities where they were before. And for me, what really, I think, gave us opportunity in strategic plan was that instead of Goodwin House simply allowing people to be engaged outwardly and to try to reach a more diverse audience, Goodwin House itself wants to be part of that. So my picture of the strategic plan is that we want to move out to a wider group, but what we really want to do is bring the residents with us, and the residents showing us how to do that, and the residents helping to be involved and engaged with us in doing all of that. So I don't think I speak as an isolated resident. I think I speak for a large majority of people who are really, interested in reaching an outward group. We need to understand that this plan is really a first phase, and then there's a second phase, but that all of these things need to do more planning. And in fact, the strategic plan calls for that. So financial officials are going to be contacted. Our own financial offices have to show what's doable, what can we afford, what's scalable, and what ultimately is going to at least balance the budget. If it's not profitable, at least it doesn't lose money. So that's a very important part of the plan, and people are well aware of that. And in fact, the board is fiscally conservative, so if we don't get a good financial plan behind any of these things, the board will not approve it. The strategic plan also started with people engaging the country. So, we had a whole team of people, leaders, administrators, and also strategic plan committee members, who went out to the Mayo Clinic, for instance. They spent a week out there. They considered a Presbyterian housing authority, that is doing middle-income housing. They've explored a lot of different places, and so we've got good research. We've all been reading a lot about it. We've been consulting people. We've been consulting financiers, real estate people, and it's going to be a long, long process, and it will be thought out. But when I say long, long nowadays is 5 years, 10 years. We're not going to discuss this for 20 or 40 years and then decide what we're going to do. Things move very quickly now, so we have to decide quickly. One of the things that I think residents can appreciate is that a lot of this is going to require an endowment, perhaps, and funding that helps. And so one of the things that we envision is that the foundation will become involved in this. And in fact, now we have new leadership in the foundation, and Valerie Burke is very much interested in being involved with the strategic plan. There has to be coordination all the time between the GHI board and the foundation board. And maybe we need to extend our fundraising, and that would be another possibility. But, as things get a little bit sharper, maybe it's areas where residents will want to contribute to the foundation that would help it to be a funding source for a lot of these new ventures that are not really part of residential living and are a new phase for the foundation. And the other thing, too, that I think people need to be comfortable about is that a retirement community like ours will not remain a good community if it just stays in place and it doesn't move with the times. You can see that we are constantly renovating to meet new needs and new markets. The apartments have been totally changed, they're still being changed, and in fact we have to constantly address the needs of people that are constantly coming along. And if we don't want to become smaller and smaller in the people whom we serve with a wider and wider community out there, then we have to be willing to kind of prepare for the next generation and contribute as we can so that Goodwin House will remain vital and relevant in every age.